Hello everyone, and welcome to the LizyT show right here on Instagram. We have been exploring Instagram since COVID because the response and the amount of feedback we get is a lot bigger than I thought it would be. I'm here today live, everyone, as you know, and I am so happy and honored to have somebody very special on the show. Somebody who I had the opportunity to meet, I believe, my goodness, probably about 5 years ago when I just started the LizyT show. It was brand new for me. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was pretty much, on the seat of my pants. And little did I know that later I will be here, sharing with you, not only on TV or not only on social media, but also on the radio. And that's how really I started. And talking about starting, I am so honored that I have somebody who had started not just as big as he is right now, not as privilege and had the opportunity to share stages with many people in the world. Thanks so much for joining, James. We'll call you in 1 minute. I'm hoping that we get more people joining. We have, by the way, for you that DM'd me and you wanted to win something special, which you will, your names are here on the LizyT mug for you to be able to win something special today. And I am so happy to have this person with me. Like I said, I met him about 5 years ago. I was just starting with the show, and little that I know, this has taken off like a wildfire. And I'm still exploring a new venue like here on Instagram Live IGTV, which is phenomenal. So I'm going to be inviting more people right now. Hopefully you can join us and be part of this amazing show that has been prepared. I've been advertising that for a little while now, and I am very excited because this is going to be amazing. For you that is tuned in right now, you're in for a surprise because James has completely up his giveaway, and I am honored to have him here today. So I will read his bio. As you can see, he's not just anybody. He's a very accomplished speaker. He is an author, founder of Verbal Aikido, Pure Communication Mastery, and Guru Builder. I actually was part of his Guru Building network that he had founded, Dream Life Retreat, and he is one of the world's most accomplished speaker, as I said earlier, having addressed more than 2,000 live audiences. That is incredible. And having shared this stage. Hey, Yulia, thank you for joining. Your name is on the draw. So he has shared the stages with mega brand, and I'll name some of them: Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Larry King, Bob Proctor, Steve Orr, Rudy Giuliani, Robert Allen, T. Harv Eker, which is one of my favorite. I read that book in Portuguese in Brazil, as a matter of fact. Sir Richard Branson, through his work in radio and television, and with corporate training with major corporate brands like RBC, CIBC, Scotia McLean, speaking on the world's biggest stages. James has helped hundreds, thousands of people around the world to embrace their best possible life, to be more, to do more. This is my favorite part: to have more and to give more. Without further ado, I'll bring him in, and I'm hoping that you can. I know your name is here, and I know that you're very very excited. Hello, Gene. Welcome. I love that. That's sign language for bravo. For applause. Thank you so much, Renata, for joining us as well. So I read your bio, and my goodness, what an accomplished person you are. However, it wasn't always that way.
Correct.
So, by the way, I love your little background.
Thank
the
you.
trees, and yes, the trees and the forest is phenomenal. So I heard your story a long time ago. Hello, welcome. You had a very interesting life because learning from you wasn't an easy thing. So can you tell people that haven't heard about you how did you overcome your struggle? Because I call it a struggle, and what did you do about it?
Sure. Well, thank you. First of all, I'm honored to be on here. I mean, you and I have been acquaintance friends for a while, and
5 years.
I've been begging, just for your viewers to know, I've been begging. I've been harassing her. Please make me a star. Put me on your show. So I'm honored to be here. Seriously, I thank you. So I did grow up on the wrong side of the tracks. We had challenging situations. I tell people that we were posing as lower middle class. So we lived in a lower middle class area, middle to lower middle, but we were posing. I was always like the poorest kid in my arena. That wasn't the biggest challenge. We had other challenges at home. My father was a law enforcement officer. He's passed away now over 10 years. And he struggled with violent temper, substance abuse, and challenges. I have ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And I struggled in many, many ways. I'm not going to get into all the ways. But I could not even speak a sentence until I was 9 years old. They sent special speech therapists into my classroom. And the challenge for me was I didn't get it. I didn't realize what was wrong. I didn't know that I was different. I didn't know. I thought I sounded like everyone else. I thought I was completing sentences. And so they would take me out of class and say, time for Jimmy MacNiel's speech therapy. And everyone would mock me. And it was very embarrassing. And then they would teach me nursery rhymes, which I've learned to hate. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck and all that stuff. And they were trying to create neural pathways between my brain and my mouth because I was just so hyper, I couldn't seem to complete organized thought. So I learned to speak when I was 9. And anyone having a child who can't complete a sentence by 9, you'd be petrified. And I couldn't read until I was 21. I have no college, no university. I was on my own when I was just turned 19, which isn't desperately young. But it was for me because I had the maturity of a 5-year-old and I couldn't read. So for me, it was quite a challenge. And I was going to be homeless. I bought a car for $500 and drove to Florida just to survive the winter. Shortly after I got there, my car was stolen with all of my belongings. I was in a suicidal depression and dabbling in drugs and so on. So I started out as a statistic waiting to happen. I wasn't supposed to make it. If you look at the challenges that I had and the opportunities in front of me, there was every reason to believe, don't bet on this guy. And yet here I am. And so that was the story when I began. And then by the grace of God, I had a spiritual turnaround. And then I said, okay, I think I could be somebody. I think I can do something. I could be a positive, impact person. And so I just never stopped my quest since that day. I'm 55, and that happened when I was 20. So I've been on a tear for the last 35 years.
Wow. Thank you guys for the hearts. Thank you so much for joining. Liza just joined us. If you have questions here, take advantage. This is somebody who has shared the stage with amazing people. Les Brown, I love it. Even the limbs for, what's it called again? The Ministry for Limbs. I love that. I'm trying to remember his name. But you've shared stages with one of my favorite peoples in the world. And for you to be who you were and for you to do what you're doing now, it's definitely a miracle. Any specific part in your life where you can think, what was exactly your turning point?
Wow. Well, that's an interesting question, Asha. I think it's a great question because many people think it was one day, right? One day I did something right. And I want everyone watching to know that it's taken 35 years of turning points for this day to be this day. Last weekend, I was the speaker just after Tony Robbins, and then me. Just after me was Jack Canfield on a giant global event. On that same event was my guru dad, Les Brown. He calls me Guru's son. And so to be able to share the biggest stages with the biggest names, circle the globe, all this kind of thing, it was 1,000 turning points, 1,000,000 turning points. I think of the big turning point. I was in suicidal depression, literally, when I lived in Florida. And I was, I'll actually tell you this. I rarely tell people this. I had friends who were drug runners, cocaine runners. These were the Scarface days in Florida. It was a bloodbath down there, but with the drugs and so on. And
wow.
Yeah, and my friend said, if you want to, get girls and make money, become a drug runner. We run cocaine. And I said, okay. And so, but other people warned me. They said, these drug runners are getting killed. They're young men walking around with paper bags filled with hundreds of thousands of dollars of cocaine and or cash. And so all other criminals and even common citizens were killing these young men to steal these paper bags. And so if you're a young man with a bunch of pagers on your belt in a paper bag back in those days, you had a lifespan of 3 months. And so I decided I was going to do that. I said, okay, I'll be a drug runner and then someone will kill me and I'll get out of this life. And by the grace of God, I met a girl. God knows me. God knows me too well. This girl interrupted my...
Always the girls.
She saved me. I went on a date instead of meeting with the drug runners, and so that turned my whole life around. And so thank you, God, for women. And so she saved my life, and then I liked her, and so she made me go to her church, and I ended up opening up to spirituality, and by the grace of God, my life turned around. And so then it's been one turning after that. Sorry to cut you off there.
No. Thank you guys for the hard questions. Any concern, anything that you come up with right now, please leave it on the chat below. So when I heard your story for the very first time, you were very good at sales, and that really kind of started your whole career.
Yes.
Selling was your thing. You could sell anything to anybody.
So let me tell people the career story. So I was a janitor. That's what I had the education for. So I was the guy cleaning toilets and mopping floors. My dream as a young man was to hopefully someday make it up to being a carpet cleaner. That was my life's ambition. If I could ever be the carpet cleaner, that's high class. I wanted to be the carpet cleaner. And so that's as far as I thought I would ever be. When I went for a job, I moved back to Canada. I went for a job at a mall and they didn't have any jobs. Long story short, I couldn't get a job as a janitor, so I just went store to store. I actually was hoping I'd get a job at the lingerie shop, which is, young man thinking. Anyway, I ended up getting a job at a tuxedo place. And at the tuxedo place, I would start renting tuxedos. And I just listened to the motivational speakers all day, every day in my Sony Walkman. Kids, a Sony Walkman is like an iPod. What anyway? It's like a device.
Yes, they're about 20 to 30 here. We're the oldest one.
So I was just listening to the motivators in my ear set, and then the owners of the company came after a year and a half working there, and they said I was the third top salesman in their entire corporation, in their entire string of tuxedo shops. I was the third from the top. They said, you're the third top salesman. And I said, I don't even know what sales is. They said, when you get someone to sign a contract. I said, I'm just doing my job. And they said, we're so impressed with you. We're going to make you a manager of your own store, and it'll be the flagship store. We want to reward you. And I ended up saying, well, thank you, but I quit. And they said, why? I said, before you told me that, I didn't know I was good at sales, but I've heard salesmen are the most high-paid people in the world, so I don't want to be a store manager. I want to be a salesman. So I quit, and I started selling suits, and then while I was selling suits, they sent me for training. I ended up taking over the class by accident, and I thought maybe I can be a speaker, and that's how it started. So then it was a matter of, well, all I know how to do is mop floors and sell stuff, so let me sell from the stage. So I was hired by all the big speakers. I've worked for Bob Proctor. I've worked for, now Les Brown as an associate. But I worked with Tony Robbins. I worked with Harv Eker, launched Jack Canfield, Mark Van launched many careers. I was there before The Secret was made. So I've been in really cool places because I learned how to sell well, how to capture hearts and minds and move people to make their own best decisions. And that's changed my life. Being able to connect and influence, secret of success.
Absolutely. And I've watched many of your speeches and I've watched many of your presentation, and you're definitely you captivate the audience like this. You've, after all this, no, thank you. After all this have gone by, you've been in business for a while. You develop verbal Aikido. What is verbal Aikido? This is recent.
Aikido. Around the year 2001.
Yes.
Verbal Aikido is now the world's most powerful, authentic, respectful, and direct communications philosophy. Aikido is a very recent martial art. Aikido, it's the powerful path to peace. It is the non-adversarial martial art. It respects the energy of the person attacking them, redirects that energy, and always maintains balance. So they don't fight back. They don't attack this way. They also don't give in like judo or jiu-jitsu. What they do is they spin and throw people. And if you ever attack an Aikido, you'll find out just how powerful they are. But they never want to win. They never want a conflict. If they never enter tournaments. If they
we have a Muay Thai trainer here. So James, thank you for watching. Yes, thank you for the heart.
I love this. I love this. So if you have experts in martial arts, they can correct me if I say anything wrong. But in verbal Aikido, we simply do the same thing verbally. So if someone was to attack me verbally and say, James, you're a jerk, the verbal Aikido strategy would be to say something like, I'm sorry to hear you say that. I'm guessing that means I've offended you. And would you be kind enough to tell me what I did so I can apologize? So instead of saying, no, I'm not a jerk, or yes, I am a jerk, or you're a jerk, I simply will say, I'm sad to hear that you feel I'm a jerk. Help me understand what I've done wrong. And so instead of turning it into a fight, I turn it into an opportunity for mutual growth. That's verbal Aikido. It's been trained now for international police forces to de-escalate stressful situations. I've been told by law enforcement agencies in Florida, my work has helped avoid race riots, real serious things, where many people could have and would have died. It's been used for the world's biggest banks, most powerful banks, to generate billions of dollars. So mastering communications has mattered for thousands and millions of people around the world. And I'm just honored to have been the creator. It came together, and it's just another, I would call it a gift from God. It just came to me, and it changes everyone it touches.
It is incredible. Yeah, I was honored to be part of the initiation, and it is very, very powerful, and I understand why it's such a great success. One of the things that you have actually kind of franchised verbal Aikido. You have people working with you, and people are so interested in what you do that they always want, I want a part of that. How does that been working with followers, right? Because they're your followers, they're your fans, and they realize that this is something that they can utilize for their business and even become trainers.
Well, I think what's important for people to understand is, I said this recently, every human being on the earth loves every human being on the earth. They're just not consciously aware of that. The ego has blinded us. The ego has caused division. The ego has separated. The ego has created us and them. Even institutions are collective egos, like religions. And I'm not an anti-religion guy. I'm not anti any faith group. But religions can be collective egos, an us versus a them. The moment there's an us and a them, or an I and a you, there's separation. Separation causes desperation, and that causes all kinds of nasty behavior. So everyone on the earth loves everyone on the earth. We all want to make a positive difference. We all want to do right. The fact is that people don't know how to do that and feed their families and live toilsome lives. So whenever anyone finds something that's golden, that they believe, my goodness, you, right, and they'll say this to me, it's like, you've got the cure for cancer. Can I help get it out there? And it's just a natural compulsion that comes from love energy that says, I want to change the world. And they'll do it their own way if they can find a way. But if they see something powerful, like verbal Aikido or my new work, pure spiritual intelligence, they just say, how do I help you get this to the world? And so I'm blessed with having the best souls in the world come around and say, we want to play with you. And so that's been a huge honor and very humbling, by the way. And I just love that people want to get these messages out to the world.
That is awesome. And I've met Trainer James, which is doing doing the program, which is awesome. Yep. But you're working on something very new. You have a book coming up. Yes. I know we talked yesterday. You're swamped and you're unbelievably busy. You don't have time to eat. Wow. Can you tell us about that?
Well, this is the work I've been working on forever. So Verbal Aikido came out in 2001. Verbal Aikido is actually part of the inspiration that is now fully formed in Pure Spiritual Intelligence. Pure Spiritual Intelligence is a metaphysical success philosophy. And so for me, it was my tapping in or my becoming connected to or supported by the love energy of the universe that helped transform my life. And so I thought, boy, everyone needs what I've just got, right? What turned me around? I mean, how have I gone from zero to hero in those ways? How have I gone from nobody to now sharing the biggest stages of the world with the biggest names, sometimes being flown around in corporate jets and spoiled rotten? How does that happen? How does that happen? It's not reasonable. It's not mathematical. No, it's miraculous. And so what I found is that the spiritual truths are universal, which means we can all tap in. Now, that does not mean that you can't be accurate to be a Christian or a Buddhist or a Muslim or Hindu. It's 100% respectful. And I happen to be a fully committed Christ follower, for those who are curious. But what I know is...
Amen to that.
Amen to that, brother and sister. But the love energy of the universe does not discriminate. The love energy of the universe loves you and wants to love through you. And when I realized that, as I studied Taoism, as I studied Buddhism, as I studied the different faith groups, I realized that there's some universal truths that we can all align with. And so I created... This is like, The Secret, the law of attraction?
Yeah, of course.
So this is this times 1,000. And I say that because it has all, like, law of attraction is one of the universal spiritual truths. This is one of the laws of success. But there's a bunch of them. And so they're all embedded and clearly lined out and organized in an organic fashion of personal growth in pure spiritual intelligence. And it's all rated RR, religiously respectful. So atheists, agnostics, witches and Buddhists, everyone gets along fine here. And what it is it's a how to tap in to the energy force of the universe, which is love, and to heal. And to heal physically and financially and relationally, to become that love machine that you know that you are, to enjoy freedom and fun, and to unlock it in a way that's truly miraculous. So the work that I do is helping people activate the miraculous flow, and it's happening all day, every day. And we've just rolled out our best product ever. It's called the 30-Day Miracle Challenge. In 30 days, people are able to trigger their dream life. This is the kind of spiritual journey that takes people 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, mountaintops and in monasteries. And yet in 30 days, they've totally tapped into the miraculous flow of the universe. And so I couldn't be more excited. I couldn't be more proud right now.
I know. You've been promoting this, and I've been following, and I thought this is a great opportunity for me. And I had a spot, and I figured now that you're begging so much, I feel so honored. This is a great opportunity, and hopefully that you are watching right now. Please send your question. Thank you so much for your hearts. Thank you, Renata. Thank you. So questions at all, please take opportunity. This guy knows lots of stuff. So if you are struggling with your business, or if you think that there is something else that you need to learn, just type it down below. So let's not forget that your names, all the one that are watching, are here, and he has a special surprise because we changed things around yesterday. He's going to give out something even better. So I'm very excited. So how can people find you right now, James? Can you share with me your social? Yes.
Sure. So, of course, people, if they're here, they can see my Instagram thing, right? I'm new at all this technology stuff. You can find me on Facebook as James MacNiel. I'm not hidden. I'm not in disguise. You can go to jamesmacneil.com. You can learn more about the 30-Day Miracle Challenge at it's 30 Days Begins Now. So there's lots of ways to find me. I'm very Googleable. jamesmacneil.com would work. 30 Days Begins Now would work. And we also have a Facebook group, a free Facebook group called Pure Spiritual Intelligence. So maybe I gave too many options. I may have confused people. I apologize. But I'm very findable, and I'd love to connect and grow.
And you know, guys, you will have all the links underneath here. This will be saved in LizyT, so you can always link up with him. Again, take the opportunity to ask questions. One of the things that a lot of people are complaining, and I hate to use complain, but they're struggling with COVID. I know it hasn't affected you, it hasn't affected me, but it has affected a lot of people. What someone to do in this time that unfortunately they're not able to work, they're not able to do things that they used to do before, how could they take this time as an opportunity? And I actually answered the question.
First, I would disagree with the premise, and forgive me for sounding like I'm disagreeing, but sure it's affected me, and sure it's affected you. It's affected all of us. My business is on stage, right? I'm accustomed to taking people to tropical retreats. I'm accustomed to being on physical stages, here, there, and all over the world. And all of that shut down. So my entire business ended. So yeah, it affected me. What I did was I took some time to say, okay, what is this? And I looked at it as the most unbelievable opportunity to take a break and say, okay, who am I? Why am I here? What do I want? What am I doing? And I just allowed myself to breathe. And I hope you watching this, you've given yourself a chance to breathe. It's almost like you're allowed to take a break. It's like you work 24/7. We have phones that keep us connected, so we can never hide from our bosses or our clients or whatever. And so this is a chance where you and the whole planet get to say, hold on now, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Is this how I want to live? So I think that's one of the biggest blessings of the COVID journey, a chance to breathe. Secondly, when it comes to business, the business of business is profitably solving problems. I'll say that again. The business of business is profitably solving problems. Well, at this time, aren't there problems? Yes, absolutely. This has caused heart-wrenching, not just inconvenience, but death. This has been a global shakeup. And right now, I'll say this, I've talked to some really powerful, wealthy people, and we would agree that this is the greatest time of global flux in human history. There's never been a bigger shakeup. The richest might become the poorest might become the richest. There's never been a greater opportunity to reshuffle the deck and be in this world anyone you want to be. This is a window. The rules have changed.
Absolutely.
There is no norm. So if you can find a way, and I know you can, to profitably solve problems, you're coming out of this as king or queen.
And queens.
So
awesome.
This is a beautiful time.
Yes, thank you so much. Renata from, and I have to scroll down, Renata from Click, Lady Click Photography.
Nice.
We've known each other for a little while. I love that. Just breathe, and we forget it. We forget that we are feeling blessed, and it's so true. We have to remind ourselves. Thank you so much, Renata, for your comment. Yulia, she's saying, James, what would you be best approach? What would be the best approach? Sorry, Yulia. What would be the best approach to communicate with someone who is still with fear about the future? Thank you, Yulia.
So, yes, thank you, Yulia. Fear is a state of separation from the love energy of the universe. There's a river of flow called faith. Those of us who are flowing in faith, we get genius ideas, we had confidence, we're just here to serve and flow, and everything's beautiful. The shores of this river are fear and frustration. So fear is one of the normal things that happens when people begin to lose faith that everything's fine, everything's going to be fine. You know, I'm smart enough, the universe is whatever, God's with me, or whatever they want to feel. So when a person moves into fear, what that means is they've separated themselves from the love energy of the universe. Now, you may not be able to connect them spiritually because that's not your specialty or whatever. What you can do is show them love. So a fearful person will feel love, not when you agree with them. You don't have to agree with someone, especially when they're being irrational. But what you can do is help them to feel heard, understood, accepted, and respected. To be able to say, help me understand where you're coming from. And when they're able to say, I'm afraid, finally, when it comes out of their mouth, they're able to say, wait, maybe I don't need to be. Just being able to be heard, a safe place for vulnerability. If you think of a small child hurting themselves, right? They fall down, they trip or something in a public place. They will freeze. They won't cry. They'll freeze. And they'll look for mommy. The moment they see mommy's eyes, bah! Why?
So true.
They don't allow themselves to feel it fully, to let it out until they know they have the safety of mom's presence. And in the same way, your friends cannot face their irrational fears until they're able to be in a safe place with you and to open up about it and to feel heard, understood, accepted, and respected. From that strength that comes from loving acceptance, they can begin to revisit this situation. But inside of their heads, it's spinning around. It doesn't have to be rational, but they might need your help to be that loving pillar of strength, at least for a moment, for them to get their wits about them.
Wow. Yes, I expect them to not even admit that they're afraid. Thank you so much, Yulia. That was an awesome question. And as always, James, you just give it a perfect answer. I'm so glad this is recorded so we could see it again. So Kika Taskett is asking, what is the best way to meet like-minded, growth-focused person?
Oh, beautiful. Well, growth-focused people show up in the same places at the same time. So growth-focused people are more likely to be found, say, in a library than in a bar. Now, I'm not saying don't go to the bar. I'll meet you in the bar. But when you want to meet growth-focused people, there's certain places that they tend to show up. They tend to show up at seminars. They also tend to show up at philanthropic efforts. They're the people in the soup kitchens. They're the people who are building houses, home for the, Habitat for Humanity.
For humanity.
Yeah. And so if you get involved in philanthropic efforts, if you get involved in the self-help industry, start going to these events, you're going to meet the best people on the planet. Now, I'm going to give you a spiritual answer, too. Here's the spiritual answer. The more powerfully pronounced your personhood is. So you get into that space of, I'm a world changer, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm stretching, I'm that kind of a person. I'm not going to let the fear or the frustration get to me. I'm staying in faith, I'm holding it, right? I know who I am, why I'm here, what I want. When you hit that vibration, those people are attracted to you. And so the more powerfully pronounced your personhood, the more attractive and repulsive you become. Now, I hear people come to me and they say, why do I always attract jerks? Why do I always attract bad guys or bad girls? Why do I always attract the worst? Well, don't ask that question rhetorically. Ask the question, why are you attracting them? And what I'll say to you is you're probably attracting more than just the worst, but you're not attracted to the better. You're actually the one who's choosing to notice and be attracted to the worst. What is it about you that's resonating with that energy? And can you take a shift and say, I'm committed to love energy, positivity, making the world a better place? I'm not talking fake positivity. We face the truth. That said, though, we're not victims of truth. We face it, we learn, we grow, and we change. You just be that person, and those people are absolutely magnetized to you. You will become an absolute gold human magnet. All the best humans come to you. And that's one of the things I love about my communities. Like if you were to come to the 30-day Miracle Challenge, the people in my communities are all the best people. Because who I am is not, I'm not shy about who I am. And so I attract like-minded souls. And so go to great people's great communities and you're going to find great people there. And you'll fit in. Why? Because you've already chosen. That's who you are.
Beautiful answer. Couldn't be better. From the great James. Guys, keep asking your question. We still have some time. Don't worry. Before we run out of time, we will do the draw. And Titi Casket, I'm not sure what her name is. You might want to put it. She's on alias here. She said, thank you so much, James. I'm doing the 30-day challenge miracle program as well. So I guess she knows you. And I think she was